say now you be the best. Who no know say now you be one mama one mama oh, oh, oh. Come on, come on, come on, let's do it now. My baby my my baby my sweet mama. Let me tell you something about mama, the only woman who give me to grow and make me a man. Thank you, for the love you show me. Without you, my Bamenda, I nobody existed. Thank you, my Bamenda. Thank you, my homeland. My mama, for the success for your children. I am proud of you, you are rich. I am proud of you, you are strong. You defeat the whole Cameroon, like Africa in the one land. My Bamenda, my Bamenda, my sweet mama. Some people say you too small to change the country. Others say you not big good for make things work. But just a name in this country, people them they shiver. The way we are picking them, they hustle. People them they wonder. Thank you, my Bamenda. Thank you, my homeland. God bless you, my mama. For the success for your children. I am proud of you, you are rich. I am proud of you, you are strong. You defeat the whole Cameroon, like Africa in the one land. My Bamenda, my Bamenda, my sweet mama. My brothers and sisters all over the world. Whatever you do, always think about your home. It's a place where you will come back someday. Let's clean it up, let's build it love. Thank you, my Bamenda. Thank you, my homeland. God bless you, my mama. For the success for your children. I am proud of you, you are rich. I am proud of you, you are strong. You defeat the whole Cameroon, like Africa in the one land. My Bamenda, my fine baby. My Bamenda, my sweet mama. All the hardworking sons and daughters of this great northwest region of Cameroon, I want you to stand up and dance because the time has come when we have to put our heads and hands together in order to build this our lovely and only region. My Bamenda, my fine baby. My Bamenda, my sweet mama. Thank you, my Bamenda. Thank you, my homeland. God bless you, my mama. For the success for your children. I am proud of you, you are rich. I am proud of you. Defeat the whole Cameroon, like Africa in the world.
Okay, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining this live stream on National Telegraph. I'm quite pleased. Just I'm quite happy that you joined. My name is Eric Tataw, and of course, today we have this breaking news that's coming from the United Nations, and we are quite happy that we can have this discussion right here with all people who are following the international community, the US, and of course, we want to say happy Elections Day I hope you've gone out there. I hope you've voted. I hope everything is going well with you. And it gives us this very rare pleasure to keep on thanking you for your support. I want to thank everybody who's watching, and I want to crave your indulgences, ladies and gentlemen, especially those who are watching from other parts of Africa, like the Gambia, Uganda, Burkina Faso, Mali, those who are watching from Cote d'Ivoire, and of course, if you're watching from Uganda, from Rwanda, from Ghana, from Tanzania, from Zimbabwe, we're saying a big hello to you. Let's just know where you're watching from. And of course, those who are watching from the United States, those who are watching from Cameroon, where we have the armed conflict going on there between the central government and rebel groups in Cameroon's northwest and southwest, aka Ambazonia. Once more, you're welcome. As I've explained to you, we need not to talk so much. I will just go straight to the point. Today, I want to be talking very clearly on information of Southern Cameroons who are fighting for their independence. And if you join, you share, please make sure you share extensively and try to get everybody on board. We have 500,000, and that it's been a very long time since we came live on this our official Facebook page. That is why we're going to be discussing so that everybody's going to be following. So if you're watching from Nigeria, I also want to say hello to you. All right, let's know which Switzerland. A big hello to you. We want to say hello to Kesha Kenan, who's watching from Accra, Ghana. And of course, we will not forget all of our fans who are watching from the Horn of Africa. I'm thinking of those of you in Eritrea, Ethiopia. And of course, I want to say a big shout out to all those who are watching from Ethiopia. We have heard what's going on and we're quite sorry what happened in one of your regions there. A big hello to those who are watching from Eritrea, from Somalia. And of course, we want to also say hello to those who are watching from the Gulf. From the Gulf, we're thinking of those of you watching from the UAE, from Oman and other countries within the Gulf. A big shout out to all of you. Thank you, those who are watching from Boston, from Massachusetts. We're reaching out to you. If you're watching from Bahrain, it's a big shout out. So, I'll just give a brief background in a few minutes. Very brief background. And of course, this is basically about a couple of things that have been going on. You have all seen in the news and you've watched and you've listened very extensively about what happened in Kumba, one of the cities in Cameroon southwest. And on this page, we have no compromise with how we call countries. We call countries according to their names and we explain things according to the details with precision and with international standard. This is not some kind of activism page. This is exactly what we're going to be talking here. And it's going to be about what's going on, what we found out from the United Nations. We're still seeking permission to play the recorded audio from the United Nations today. Once we have that clearance, we're going to do just that. Now, for those who are joining from other parts of the world who do not know what's going on, who of course do not know what's happening, Cameroon is in a deep crisis, an armed conflict. I think one of the worst in the world, or probably in Africa, let me put it that way. And since 2016, lawyers and teachers started a protest to demand better reforms within the legal and educational systems in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon. And this was, of course, for the government to enhance the common law and enhance the educational system, which is purely Anglo-Saxon. As you are aware, there's been two Cameroons, the Republic of Cameroon and Southern Cameroons, what they call today La Republique du Cameroun, and put it that way. And Southern Cameroon gained its independence in 1961, and Cameroon or East Cameroon gained its independence in 1960. Well, I don't want to go into the polemics of this history, but just to say that due to some political maneuvers, these two countries were merged. They were merged together. Remember that these are colonies after the British and the French as allies defeated Germany, and these two colonies finally were merged by some manipulation after they both had their separate independence. And so French Cameroon engaged in a policy of wiping out any heritage that was left within the people of Southern Cameroons. And so the police force, all their institutions were completely destroyed. I can put it that way. So in 2016, lawyers and teachers started a strike. They started a demonstration, peaceful demonstration, to call for an overhaul in the systems that were governing these two areas in terms of the legal and educational system. So the government did not subscribe to this protest, this early peaceful protest, and early 2017 or late 2016, early 2017, Manchon BBC started the Coffin Revolution, and these, of course, led to some social upheavals, and Cameroon has never been the same because this social protest finally has led to an armed conflict where we now have a lot of guns in the hands of what I would call rebels, what the Cameroon government calls terrorists, what the international community calls non-state actors. This has been going on for a long time, and the United Nations has been called several times to come and play a key role in this conflict. So I just want to say this. On the 24th of October, which was a Saturday, and I'll say it on this platform, on our news platform, authoritatively, after our findings, elements of the Cameroon military acting incognito, they're acting like disguised as armed separatists, entered a school in Kumba. Kumba is the chieftain of Meme Division, one of the restive divisions of Cameroon Southwest region. So they entered this school, Mother Francisca International Bilingual Academy, and shot. There was a mass shooting. They shot and killed 5 children on the spot, and 2 later died in hospitals. And so the total is 7, and they'll be burying these children a day after tomorrow, which is Thursday. And so these children will be buried tomorrow. And we at the National Telegraph, we can authoritatively, after we obtain evidence, that they can for this act. Okay, just today we also got a story that is coming out from Kumbu. Kumbu is the chieftain of Bui division in Cameroon's northwest region, what their Ambazonians call today, they call the northern zone. But the Cameroon government calls it the northwest, and of course they still have their structures there, but rebels are fighting to claim it. So in Bui, but precisely in Kumbu, in one of the Presbyterian schools, without blinking, we can say authoritatively at the National Telegraph that a group of fighters commanded by a former pastor here in Maryland, who is not out there, Samuel Komisako, who deliberately, as we have investigated, misuse, and we can say steal, or we deliberately he stole over half of $1.4 million that was contributed for the liberation struggle. So particularly that money was embezzled. So a group of separatists led by him, known as the Bui Warriors, went to this Presbyterian school and kidnapped most of the pupils and teachers, but later released the teachers. They rather released the pupils, and they are still holding the teachers. We're following up. Hopefully they have released them by now. I spoke with some of the fighters, and they told me they were instructed, that their boss, Samuel Sako, instructed them to go and disrupt their school, and so they kidnapped these children. So that's why we're saying here that at the National Telegraph, we make sure we report the stories according to the facts. The Kumba massacre was carried out by the Cameroon military 100%. We can attest to that. 100%. The Cameroon military killed these children. We have all the proofs, and we'll keep on educating and telling the international community. Why today in Kumbu, the Samuel Sako-led group of the Bui Warriors, which many Ambazonians are considering a proxy of the Cameroon government acting under the cover of Ambazonians, but because many have argued that it is possible that after the Kumba massacre, bury these children, and we find a group of rebels going to kidnap children in a school, and this is led by Samuel Sako. It is just a way to give signal to the international community that probably this Kumba Act is just to try to solidify what the Cameroon government is trying to put out there as conspiracies. So all of us we've investigated these two very terrible acts. 24th till now is just about 8 days or thereabout, 9 days. So these people should be held responsible. The Cameroon government should be held responsible for killing these children in Kumba, while in Kumbu we have investigated and we can state authoritatively that Samuel Sako ordered the kidnapping of these children. This is National Telegraph, and we know a lot of people are joining from other countries who might not understand the scope. Same way we can be discussing issues in Zimbabwe and in Cameroon will not understand. So we just beg that you follow with us. Excuse me. Now, to the crux of the matter, we are talking about the United Nations. This breaking news from the United Nations. This investigation was triggered by a declaration from this same former pastor Sako, who is a dismissed and sacked leader of the Ambazonian Revolution. Is acting only on his own volition, and probably many people say that it is for this reason that no international community or any member of the international community has ever recognized him as anything when it comes to the separatist movement. He has his following on WhatsApp, and a lot of people make audios. Let me say some people make audios sometimes to back him up, but he has zero recognition in America or anywhere that he ever shows his face. A case in point is a recent meeting that was scheduled to hold Senator Ben Cardin, but this meeting was not attended by the senator, although Samuel Ikome and his group claimed that the senator came there before, during, and after a meeting that was not attended by the senator. They came and lied to the people. So our analysis today and our investigation, we called the UN office here in New York, the communication department, and we follow up with other departments in the United Nations. Samuel Sako said yesterday on a live show in a Facebook page that has over 11,000 followers or thereabout, known as ABC, that's a Facebook page, and he claimed that the United Nations has endorsed a process for negotiation between the rebels and the government of Cameroon. So we had to call the United Nations. But then what was most important is that two of the panelists who came on this Facebook page yesterday, yesterday was of course Monday, November 2nd, 2020, Samuel Sako and one other retired journalist, Bo Herbert. Both of them contradicted themselves. When the interviewee asked Samuel Sako if this, because we're talking about the Swiss-led talk, I'm coming with the breaking news from the United Nations. He asked Samuel Sako if the government of Cameroon has engaged or is committed to the Swiss talk, and Samuel Sako said yes, the Cameroon government is committed to the Swiss talk, but he has no documents showing Cameroon's commitment. Commitment is not by mouth. Commitment is by writing, is by acknowledgement, is by text. When you write that, just take for example, the Cameroon government has released a document saying that over 600 people we have had 600 new coronavirus cases in the last 10 days. That is a document, you can attest to that. But an issue as important as a declaration of a peace process or a negotiation process between rebels and the government of Cameroon is found nowhere. It's not gazetted, it's not trumpeted anywhere by any international community. There is no archive. And I called the UN today to find out. Once I get clearance from the official, I'll play the audio right here. Now, Sako said Cameroon has backed this talk. Cameroon is committed to the talk. You have all the videos some of you watched yesterday. But in under 10-20 minutes when Sako was gone, Bo Herbert, who is another a crusader of the Swiss talk, who is playing public relations for the Swiss NGO called HD, came online and categorically stated that Cameroon has never been committed to the talk. So these are two people, they are backing same talks, but they have different points of view. It's not like, the truth is that later on when the interviewer tried to push Bo Herbert further, he tried to change his tone and tried to claim that, oh no, Cameroon was committed because they went on this, they went on this, they went on that. Okay, but the truth is that Bo Herbert said Cameroon has never been committed. All of you listen to that. But he later on tried to change. This is facts checking. And we're doing it on National Telegraph because we want the international community to understand. The UN is following, everybody is following, and we'll try to discuss this. All right. So we'll go step by step. Before I'm waiting for the clearance from the UN to play that audio. Once they give me the clearance to play the recorded interview that I had with the official today, I'm going to do that. So Sako said Cameroon. That was yesterday on same live show, on same Facebook page. Samuel said Cameroon has committed to the Swiss talk. Bo Herbert came and said Cameroon has never been committed to the Swiss talk. These are two people who have all gone to Switzerland, but they have completely different opinions about Cameroon's level of commitment. Bo Herbert stated categorically clear that Cameroon is not committed. Sako said Cameroon is committed. First of all, I don't believe, as this Eric Tataw's point of view on this show on National Telegraph. First of all, I don't believe any of these two guys, and I'll explain why. They don't have credibility, because we have had recorded leaked tapes from this group where they themselves, they have confessed that the Swiss talk is sponsored by the Cameroon government. Okay, what is even amazing and even very funny is that the people of Southern Cameroons who are fighting for the liberation of their statehood from the government of Cameroon, they are over 8 million, and most of them, they are very educated. Most of them can read. They have the literacy rate in these two English-speaking regions should be at about 80%. Means most people can read. They can understand the differences of word. Okay. There is what they call the Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiation, which so far has proven to be the most credible organization when it comes to trying to push negotiations or dialogue between the rebels, or the warring parties. So the CDN ended a survey where it stated that over 86% of people from these English-speaking regions, they want independence, complete autonomy. Okay, this is what is even very funny. This is very stated, and while they were reading, it showed clearly, and even people who filled that survey, who filled in the survey, know that they were, they know that they were voting, they were putting their vote or their opinion on the side of total independence. It's clear. But what happened yesterday, according to this former pastor who is, accused of investment over 1.4 million. The former pastor, $1.4 million, which is over 900 million CFA, by the way. The former pastor tried to convince people, though his body language was so defeating, he looked so completely finished. He tried to convince people that, oh, you know what, these guys, they're actually federalists, and so they want but one Cameroon, they want this and this and this and so on and so forth. And one of the arguments that one of the guys who was on the show said, okay, they brought in, these are the people that they named that they brought in to talk to the poor Southern Cameroons. They called Dr. Monzo. They called Ni John Fundi, who is chairman of the Cameroon Social Democratic Front Party, SDF, John Fundi. They called Agbobala. Agbobala came there, he's a federalist. They called, these are typically the persons. They also even try to talk about Dr. Christopher Fomio. Okay, so they try to use these people to push an agenda to confuse their followers. But let me say it here categorically, like I've said about the Kumba massacre, that the military is responsible. You see, the truth of the matter is this is simple. It is not only ironical, but it is a big slap on their faces, and I'll explain why. The highest number of federalists, as they term them, that have come to sell the federalist agenda to the 8 million people of Southern Cameroon, or the English-speaking Cameroon, have actually come from these particular people. Samuel Sako runs a Facebook network called ABC, and his right-hand man, his hit and run man, who of course is also a former pastor, Christopher Anu. Of course, he's famous for saying that Samson killed Goliath. So he has brought, and I will name, he has brought at least 5 well-known federalists who have sold their agenda with impunity to the people of Southern Cameroon. I'll name these federalists in the line. Number 1, Chris Anu brought in John Fundi, the same John Fundi that they today complain that came to this meeting. John Fundi came to the CDN and he had John Fundi came to the CDN and he had less than 15 minutes. Less than 15 minutes. But while John Fundi was on ABC, John Fundi, why John Fundi, just one quick minute. Okay. I'm just getting some messages. Very good. So John Fundi was on CDN, the Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiation, the visual conference that just ended a day ago, thereabout. Okay. John Fundi came to CDN, he had just 15 minutes. While Fundi came to ABC, he had over 1 hour, 30 minutes of airtime where he categorically preached the Federalist agenda. That wasn't a problem to Christopher Arno, but it's a problem when the CDN gives John Fundi 15 minutes. So these are the things that people must know. Now we go to Dr. Munzo. Dr. Munzo still was invited by ABC, Sako's-led channel, and Munzo was given over 2 hours for free. But Munzo had over about 15 minutes or thereabouts still on the CDN. Okay, Eric Tinje, another well-known preacher of One Cameroon, was given over 2 hours on ABC, the same one led by Sako Ekome. The Eric Tinje, I didn't follow exactly. All of them had this time frame on ABC. On ABC, 2 hours, 2 hours. Chris Anu even held sacred meetings with Fundi, and they also brought one Pastor Kenneth, who is a Federalist, well-known Federalist. He had over 2 hours debate, preaching a Federalist agenda to the people of Southern Cameroon and convincing them to be Federalist. They also brought a certain, who did they bring? I mean, you know all the names. There are some names that we can't just call. So they have brought at least 5 Federalists and Unionists to their own television. But the thing that these same Unionists cannot come, at a point they even sent a delegation to beg Professor Maurice Kamto, leader of the Cameroon Renaissance movement, to come on their TV for an interview. But he turned them down and drove them away disgracefully. So these are the kind of people, and this is the hypocrisy they play, that we think at the National Telegraph, just like you watch on CNN and other networks, we have to give our opinions and also to do facts checking. So you cannot bring Fundi for 2 hours on your TV to come and preach a Federalist agenda, and you think that Fundi should not be brought on a debate for 15 minutes where he was squarely defeated by those who stand for independence. Now, another funny thing, I'm coming to the UN stuff. Another funny thing is that the CDN said 86% of Southern Cameroonians want independence. And he also the CDN also said they talked of autonomy. So Samuel Sako, who according to our findings did not earn any degree in Nigeria, he actually faked his degree. According to what National Telegraph found out, we can say here authoritatively, this is not an Eric Tataw platform, it's a National Telegraph platform where we research everything. So this guy who faked his degree, he tried to define autonomy. And he referred to the CDN survey, that autonomy, according to Samuel Sako, that's why you see Boy Herbert is a little bit educated. He did not answer that question on autonomy. He tried to play around. Samuel Sako tried to educate people, professors, 8 million people who have a literacy rate of over 80%, that, that autonomy means one Cameroon. It means federation. It means this and that. How do you define? Let us even look at the meaning of autonomy. Let me look it up from Google so I can read it for everybody to see. Now, listen very attentively, ladies and gentlemen. I will pull out autonomy for you all to see. Most of you must have looked up the meaning of autonomy. Autonomy is a synonym to independence. Autonomy will never mean being one. It means you want. Autonomy is, if you look at the definition from any dictionary, any book, autonomy means the people wanting to govern themselves, have their own say. You get the point. So that is the exact meaning of autonomy. And when someone says we want autonomy, it means they want independence. They want to be, if your child says he or she wants autonomy, It means your child wants independence. He wants independence from doing their own thing. So when you want to insist and interpret a document that you didn't write, that is where you have a problem. When you want to insist and interpret a document that you didn't write, it only shows that you're a conspiracy theorist. And this is what Samuel Sako ended up portraying himself as being, the biggest confucianist and the biggest conspiracy theorist within the ranks of the Anglophone separatist leaders. Now, even if the CD and survey even says more autonomy, that is more and autonomy. Which one is bigger? If you want more autonomy, means you just want to come out completely. So, if you look at the way they try to interpret it, they try to confuse the people. It shows their interest, because to me, at National Telegraph, we're covering this event. We even had a live stream on our pages on African National Telegraph Africa, on National Telegraph. We saw the quality of people who came to this CDN conference, and it is even very funny that Samuel Sako thinks all these ambassadors, former head of states, all these rich people, poor people, middle class people who came to this conference, all of them are sellout. All of them love the Cameroon government. All of them want to stay with Cameroon. So Sako expects the Ambazonian people to believe this kind of thing. You know why? For the longest time he came, though he was looking very, very fry, I can put it that way. He was looking very pale, because he thought that he could talk softly to the people and let them believe him. But the media is always here to make sure that they do fact checking. So you cannot lie to the people. Autonomy simply means independence. It's a synonym. Look it up. Synonym for autonomy. Let me pull it out so that our people can see it very clearly. All right. I'm going to pull it out. The meaning of autonomy. I always like to the meaning of autonomy. Autonomy. So I'm trying to pull it out on Google. Please, if you're joining, you try to make sure you share. Okay. So you see all the synonyms, everything. So when you lie about even a word that people can read, they can understand, they can interpret, you have the first responsibility as a leader who has access to networks, who has access to the media, to tell the truth about even those little things. Those little things. So, all right, so we're going to go. This is autonomy. The word is right here. This is it. You can say it, autonomy. It says it is the ability for you to control or govern your own country, yourself. So when you see people, and that is not even those things that are not even the words of the the right or condition of self-government. You get the point. So when you see people coming out, I will try to bring out synonyms, autonomy, synonyms. So when you see people, autonomy means greater political freedom, sovereignty, self-determination. These are some of the synonyms. And that's what Ambazonians, like you call yourself, that you are fighting for. Self-determination. And how is it possible that somebody who calls himself a doctor wants to exercise a high hand in conspiracy theory? And some people still think that, okay, the media should just be quiet because somebody who embezzled 1.4 million is talking, and so nobody should speak. If you watch CNN, Al Jazeera, BBC, they have this kind of programs where they come and x-ray the lies from politicians. They've been doing that. So I want to thank everybody who's joining from South Africa, from Denmark, all the countries in the world. We're very grateful, and we continuously remain grateful that you're following us. So autonomy means you want greater political freedom, sovereignty, self-determination, So that is exactly what autonomy means. So I think I just wanted to take time to talk about this before. So nobody who is watching should be deceived by this word, by a very loose definition of autonomy, right? And so we want to be very, 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 very grateful to everybody who is watching at this time. Now we'll go straight up, and then we will now get this message from the UN. I've not had the clearance yet, but I've called the United Nations. I called the office. I called the communication department, and I asked one question because though Herbert was very honest to tell Chris Ano to his face that Cameroon has not committed to the Swiss talk. It's a fact. But Sako lied that Cameroon is committed, and that lie did not end there. He said the Swiss talk has been endorsed by the UN, United Nations. So when I called the United Nations today, the first thing is this is what happened, and I'll show you people. So the UN sent me a statement, and I had this on record. The UN sent a statement. I'll put this out quickly. Send me one of their statements that they've made. All right. Okay, we have breaking news just coming in. I just have my reporter on the ground is just sending me the reaction, a communique from the, we're just going to come in to read this, a communique from the moderator of the Presbyterian Church, Right Reverend Funky Samuel Foba. He's reacting to the kidnapping of that I was just talking about, that's what I said, it was very dangerous. Today, Tuesday, the 3rd of November, 2020, a group of unidentified armed men stormed the campus of Presbyterian Primary School, Kumbu, and the day section of the secondary school, PCHS Kumbu, situated in Kumbu town at about 9 a.m. In the process, they carted away a total of 11 teachers and dispersed the children to go home unhurt. So we have 11 teachers that are still being held. So the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon vehemently condemns the act which continuously deprive the children of their rights to education. The church is hereby praying for the teachers, parents, children, and other stakeholders during this very trying moment. Our hope is that such ugly scenarios will one day come to an end by the grace of God. The PCC hereby launches a passionate appeal to the perpetrators of this unholy act to release the captives as soon as possible. And I join my voice with the voice of the moderator. This just came in, my correspondent is just sending this to me. You can see the communique right here. I know very soon it will be on social media. I'll share it on other networks, as we can see. So I want to thank all of you who are following. Now, let me go. So it's a confirmation that a total of 11 teachers are still being held captive. So we are thankful all of you who are following National Telegraph. So we'll go further to talk about now in the next 5 minutes. I want this show to be very brief. If you have not shared, try to share. We'll talk about the issue with the United Nations. You see, lies telling is something that must be debunked at all times. We must condemn it. We must push it out. It's crazy. It's something that should not be accepted. So Samuel Sarko lied for the opt-in time that the UN has endorsed this talk and that Cameroon is committed. Bo Herbert denied that Cameroon is not committed, which is the truth. Cameroon is not committed. And when I called the UN today, the communication department, I asked one phone for like 6 minutes. I have it recorded, but they have not authorized me to put it out yet. Once they authorize me, I'm going to do that. Now, let us get it very clearly. And when I contacted the UN, this is what they told me. They said anything that is endorsed by the United Nations is always gazetted, is written and certified. And they said that the Swiss talks have not been endorsed by the United Nations. And they sent me this communique from the UN Secretary General spokesperson on Cameroon. This was on the 25th of October. That is a day after the Kumba massacre. They sent it to me where they said that the UN is available. Listen, I'll read it to you. The Secretary General strongly urges the parties to answer his call to a global ceasefire. He reiterates the availability of the United Nations to support an inclusive dialogue process leading to resolution of the conflict crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. This is it here, underlined. So you see, it was a brief statement from the UN, and they have still reminded me that the UN can mediate this. And when Samuel says that, oh no, you have never seen where the UN has mediated. For those of you who watched CCTV today, they were talking about the crisis, I think in Mali. Somewhere have to pull that up, where they said there's a UN facilitator there. So when the UN actually officially appoints somebody to lead a negotiation, and these are the things that people must know, that all the lies, all the things that Samuel Sako came out yesterday to tell the people, they were big lies. He has never answered charges for embezzlement, charges for corruption, where we have the proofs here. We've posted them many times. And we want the people to always remain on the guard. The truth is what National Telegraph always give the people. You know, there is no gainsaying. There is no harm in speaking the truth. And there is nothing those who are angry with the truth can do to you once you speak the truth. Speak the truth, put it out there, make sure that is the truth, and it should remain the truth. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are quite happy that you're watching at this time. If you have not shared, make sure that you share extensively. So you've seen the situation. We're just waiting if we get the clearance from the UN. We'll play. You listen to what the UN is saying. So a UN endorses a talk. He puts out a communique, and the UN even appoints a facilitator. So Switzerland has never been officially been appointed by the UN. Switzerland just opted, and people just added their voices. Some people added. All of us were supporting the process from the beginning, including myself as an activist, although talking as the CEO of National Telegraph. You know, we have to understand. You see, I will put that communique out from the UN, and you see it. So the truth is very important. What is important is the truth. So you cannot come out and you try to lie to the people because you want to push an agenda. So we will continuously remain very, very civil on this page, speaking exactly what the people need to do, what the people need to know, because that is what is fundamentally important. We've had a lot of very distorted information coming from these guys, and we have to put out the right information for the people to consume. So somebody says the UN has never been part of mediation. What is mediation? Let me tell you very clearly. When you say the UN has never been part of mediation, I hope that I can actually pull out that particular this thing from the UN today that came through CT. I'll put it out on my page. I hope it was a live show today I was following. Let me see if I can get it. I think this should be it. Okay, I really put it. This is it. It was on CGTN Africa. This is it, where it talked on a portion talked on how the United Nations was. I'm going to try to pull it out and see if I can have it, where you listen to where the UN, there's a UN chief already out there and is doing a mediation on one of the conflicts in Africa. So when somebody says that the UN is not being part of mediation, go and read the rule. Exactly. Somebody has just written there, by Josh, thank you so much. Say this is one of the main role of the United Nations is to mediate conflict. I can read it. Go to their website. So when you say the UN has never been part of mediation, it means you too have been brainwashed. So we're going to just take some comment and try to explain. So it doesn't happen nowhere. It is an act of pure illiteracy on the UN principles and operations. The UN's key objective is to mediate crises and conflicts across the globe. I'm going to say, okay, the UN role, the UN key objective. You can put it the key agenda, so you can read it for yourself. It's key agenda. You want to read the UN's key agenda. You would have noticed that, and I'll put it out. UN mediation. Okay. Okay. You can see this. You can see this United Nations guideline on effective mediation. So UN actually, I'll read it. Just it's a piece that has been written here by the US peacekeeping mission. And if you say the UN does not mediate, why do they have a peacekeeping mission? About the UN guidelines for effective mediation. This is published on the United Nations Peacekeeping Mission website. He said the United Nations has drawn on its extensive experience as well as expertise of partners to develop a practical guideline material to support mediation actors. In 2021, the Secretary General developed the United Nations guideline for effective mediation in response from the General Assembly. The guideline is designated as a reference document drawing on the experiences of member states, the United Nations, regional, sub-regional, and other international organizations, non-governmental organizations, women's group, regional leaders, the academic community, as well as mediators and mediation specialists. So when you say the United Nations does not mediate, that it begs the answer. The United Nations mediates because everybody is the United Nations. Switzerland is the United Nations. France is the United Nations. You are the United Nations. Everybody who is a signatory to the United Nations is the United Nations. So when you say UN does not mediate, it means you cannot be claiming that the UN does not have the capacity. The UN has no capacity to mediate a crisis. And at the same time, you are clapping that the UN has endorsed somebody to go and mediate. If I don't have the capacity to give blood, then I cannot give blood to anybody. So how is it possible that the UN that cannot mediate is endorsing somebody to mediate? So you cannot give what you don't have. So it was first of all foolish to claim that the UN cannot mediate, to first of all claim that the UN has endorsed Switzerland, and again you come and contradict yourself by saying that the UN does not have the capacity to mediate or has never mediated. So please, let us be very sensible and intelligent in what we say. The UN is a primary mediator. That's why they delegate countries and endorse them for mediation. But in the case of Switzerland, Switzerland has not been endorsed by anybody so far. We have had people who have talked because look at the crisis between Papua New Guinea and Burgosby. You understand exactly what we're saying. So we're going to end here, and we want to be happy to say that if you want to look at some of the guidelines, you identify a number of key fundamentals that should be considered in a mediation process. So listen to it. You have preparedness, consent. Go and underline consent. You have impartiality, exclusivity, national ownership, the international law and normative frameworks, coherence, coordination, and complementarity of the mediation effort, quality peace agreements. So these are the things that the UN set aside as mediation guidelines, which the Swiss government has not had any. First of all, according to Bo Herbert, there is no consent. Consent is the biggest. Cameroon government has not given its consent, and that's what they use in plain time with the separatists. I'm going to end it here. I've not had the okay from the UN official to play that tape, but the breaking news is that UN has told me authoritatively, and I'll maybe in future they're going to ask me tomorrow, next tomorrow they're going to ask me to play that tape and say that there is no where the UN has officially endorsed the Swiss talks. So the UN even sent a document showing that they themselves, they are willing. So the UN is willing to engage in these particular discussions. So I want to thank everybody who has joined this show. If you have not shared, help to share and make sure that you keep following National Telegraph. If you didn't follow this page, try to follow this page. We thought that we should bring you this particular breaking news as brief as it is, and we thank everybody who's joined this page. Over close to 1,000 of you watching today. We hope that once we make this page regular live shows on this page, you guys will all be here to get the best information, first-hand information. Thank you once more, and have a good day. Thank you, and happy Elections Day. We'll be following up the elections and making sure we bring you briefs and updates. I want to continuously thank you for everything you do, for all your support to National Telegraph. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.